In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NHL games happening on October 11, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NHL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Ottawa Senators versus Carolina Hurricanes. The Ottawa Senators face the Carolina Hurricanes to open up the season. The Senators are coming off a rough season, but with a young and promising core, they look to take a big leap in the standings this season. The Hurricanes were the best team in the Metropolitan Division and came 4 games away from the Stanley Cup final, making this season a cup or bust one. Both teams are looking to make a statement in the Eastern Conference, and the upcoming game looks to be a great one. The new-look Senators of Ottawa stroll into the triangle looking to get things off to a good start. After years of struggling, the Senators finally appear ready to piece things together and make a run at the playoffs again. However, facing Carolina will be an uphill battle, especially on the road. The home team actually won all 3 games in this series last season, and 4 in a row overall. The Senators are looking to kick off the season strong, and they can easily pull off the upset in this game. The Carolina Hurricanes should be favored for obvious reasons, as they're the more talented, proven team and at home. However, it's the first game of the season where teams are still getting their feet wet, and the Senators are a playoff contender, so there's going to be value with these big underdog prices this season. If there's a time for the Senators to sneak up on these good teams and steal points, it's going to be early in the season. We're getting almost 2 times our money, so the Ottawa Senators money line is our full game side pick. The under cashed in all 3 meetings last season, while going a healthy 5-1 in the past 6 in the series and 8-2 in the past 10 meetings overall. Carolina has a 3-headed monster in the crease, and Frederik Andersen, Antti Raanta, and Pyotr Kochetkov are all NHL caliber and tough to crack. Andersen is expected to get the starting nod, and he'll be opposed by Joonas Korpisalo, who was a great addition by the new ownership group. The team also added to the back end with Jakub Chychrun via trade, while signing Vladimir Tarasenko and Dominik Kubalik up front. We won't see a ton of scoring from this team early on, as the bottom 6 forward group is a little weak, and the Hurricanes boast one of the best, if not the best, defensive groups in the NHL, especially after grabbing Dmitry Orlov in free agency. Both teams look to have exceptional offenses this season, making it easy to think the upcoming game will be a high-scoring one. However, the Hurricanes have a remarkable defense, and both defensive units look to take over this game. The Senators look to limit the Hurricanes' offense with Thomas Chabot, Jake Sanderson, and the rest of the unit stepping up and creating turnovers in the defensive zone, while goaltender Joonas Korpisalo makes plenty of big saves. The Hurricanes, who allowed only 2.56 goals per game last season, should eliminate the Senators with Brent Burns, Jakob Slavin, Brett Pesce, and the rest of the defensive unit forcing turnovers in the neutral zone and defensive zone, while goaltender Frederik Andersen blanks the shots on the net. The Hurricanes don't score a ton of goals, but do a very good job of keeping the puck out of their net. In the first game of the season, I also expect some rust to be there early on, as players are trying to get back up to full speed and get chemistry going. In the 3 games they played last year, it went under 6 goals in all 3 matchups. This will be a low-scoring game with both defenses stepping up. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. We have an Atlantic Division battle to kick off the regular season, as the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs square off in the Scotiabank Arena on Wednesday evening. The Canadiens finished last in the division with a 31-45-6 record, while the Maple Leafs were second in the division with a 50-21-11 record, and lost in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs and lost in 5 games against the Florida Panthers. These teams split their 4 games against one another last season as well. 2 Atlantic Division rivals and the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs kick off their 2023 to 2024 seasons in a usual matchup. These original 6 members are used to these season opening games, and while the two teams are likely to eventually end up on the opposite sides of the standings, these games are always tight. To no surprise, the odds are heavily in favor of the Maple Leafs. However, we have seen these season openers between the two go each way. Last year, the Canadiens took them down 4-3 in regulation as major underdogs, and the season before that it was a very close 2-1 win for Toronto. Every season is different, but I do not think we will be in for a blowout. The Maple Leafs got a major advantage offensively, and they've got the better defensive unit and goaltender. Montreal is a rebuilding team, and while they have great pieces in place, the depth and experience is not there yet. The Toronto Maple Leafs are far and away the better team and have the better cohesive talent. Montreal is not a good offensive team and are going to struggle. Jake Allen in the net is not going to be able to get many stops throughout the game. With the scoring ability of William Nylander and Austin Matthews on the ice, they should be able to dominate and put the pressure on the Canadiens. The Maple Leafs have won each of the previous 4 games against the Canadiens. Scotiabank Arena will be loud for the home team Maple Leafs, and even if this one is close for a long period of time, they should be able to win by 2 goals. There are no excuses for this stacked Maple Leafs squad to not earn the win in this one, so the Toronto Maple Leafs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both these offenses look to step up this season. The Maple Leafs, who averaged 3.39 goals per game last season, should find the back of the net at will with Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and the rest of the forward unit creating open shots off of great puck movement and centering passes. The Canadiens should run up the score with Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Kirby Dach, and the rest of the forward unit crashing the net on the rush and creating open shots with effective offensive zone passes to overwhelm the Maple Leafs defense. This will be a high-scoring game with both offenses stepping up. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Chicago Blackhawks versus Boston Bruins. After being featured as part of an NHL opening night tripleheader, the Chicago Blackhawks get right back at it on Wednesday night and travel to Boston to take on the Bruins. The Blackhawks finished with the NHL's worst record in 2022 to 2023, but with that, earned the right to draft future superstar Connor Bedard with the #1 overall pick. The Bruins come into this season following the greatest regular season in NHL history in 2022 to 2023 but a first-round playoff loss. The Chicago Blackhawks continue their season opening back-to-back with a matchup against an Original 6 companion in the Boston Bruins. The Blackhawks kicked off their season by beating the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they may be in tough to start the season with a winning streak. Even with Connor Bedard and some other additions, the Blackhawks do not stack up close to Boston, especially as the road team. Boston broke records last year with how much they won and how dominant they were. Yes, they lost some key pieces such as Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci, but a major chunk of their core remains, including 2 returning goaltenders. Boston should consistently own the time on attack, spending lots of time in the offensive zone of Chicago. Alternatively, any offensive chances from the Blackhawks are likely to be shut down quickly, as the Bruins will be fresh and ready to shut them down. First things first, these are not the 2022 to 2023 Bruins that are walking through that door this season. Gone are stalwarts like Bergeron, Krejci, Hall, Foligno, and several other key pieces to last year's NHL President's Trophy squad. While Boston will certainly fall back closer to the pack, there is still a large gap between the Bruins and the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks can't expect Bedard to step right in and make them a playoff contender or even a high-scoring team after finishing last in the NHL in scoring in 2022 to 2023. They will be better but not quite ready for prime time just yet. The two teams did split the regular season meetings last year with the Bruins pounding Chicago 6-1 in Boston. Playing the second game of a back-to-back shouldn't be a huge issue this early in the season, but the Bruins will come into this game with a chip on their shoulders after last year's disappointing finish. Despite drafting Connor Bedard and trading for Taylor Hall, Chicago's offense will start slow until they get accustomed to playing with one another. Boston was superb at keeping the puck out of the net last year, ranking first in goals against per game. Both Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman will return for the Bruins, and they were both excellent last season. Chicago will struggle to do much on offense against Boston, especially being on the back end of a road back-to-back. These Bruins have swagger, and they will look to put on a good show for their fans. Chicago has a much weaker team, and while they will be facing fatigue, it seems like it should be a convincing victory for the Bruins. Expect the Bruins to roll over the rebuilding Blackhawks on Wednesday night, so the Boston Bruins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Boston was superb at keeping the puck out of the net last year, ranking first in goals against per game. Both Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman will return for the Bruins, and they were both excellent last season. Chicago struggled mightily on offense last year, and despite drafting Connor Bedard, they will not be a top offense in the league. The Blackhawks will also be on the back end of a road back-to-back and will struggle to do much on offense against Boston. Boston's offense may take a bit of a step back after finishing second in goals per game last year. Patrice Bergeron retired and Taylor Hall was traded to the Blackhawks. The one constant for the Bruins this season should be their goaltending. They return both goalies from last year's squad that finished in the top 5 in nearly every defensive category. They will suffer a bit without arguably the league's best defensive forward of all time in Bergeron, but they still have plenty of pieces to support the back end. The Blackhawks were the NHL's worst scoring team in 2022 to 2023 and can only get better this season. It will take time, however, for all the new parts to gel, so don't expect high-scoring outputs to start the season for the Blackhawks. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.